Diego Ferreira versus Beneil Dariush 2, the rematch, takes place this weekend on the main card of UFC Fight Night Vegas 18, Overeem versus Volkov, and I can't wait for this lightweight bout. The rematch has taken place 6 years in the making. Beneil Dariush versus Diego. I think it should be Beneil Dariush's name first. I don't know why they do this because of the technicality with the rankings, but Beneil Dariush beat Diego Ferreira quite handily in their bout 6 years ago. His name should kind of be first here, so I'm going to say Beneil Dariush versus Diego Ferreira 2 is taking place this weekend, and I think that Beneil Dariush will get the job done again, much like he did the first time. I like the matchup very much so indeed. I think this is a very important matchup for the lightweight division right now, because in the top 5, we've got a lot of figuring out to do. Is Khabib going to go? Is he going to stay? It feels like he's probably going to go, so we're going to have a bunch of skirmishes in the top 5 of the lightweight division to decide who will be the next champion, and a bunch of title contenders after that, no doubt, as well. It's a bit of a logjam right now at the top of the lightweight division, and I feel like this one dictates the best of the rest in the lightweight division, and the winner of this one is going to be looking at a jump into that top 5 to eventually get to a title elimination bout. Both guys are kind of on their one last run. Both are very long in the game. I know they're different in ages. 36 years of age for Diego Ferreira, 31 years of age for Beneil Dariush, but I feel like if either of them lose here, it's going to start to look really unfortunate for their chances of getting to the belt anyway. I don't really see the winner of this one going on to become a world champion anyway, but I feel like if they are going to become a world champion, it's got to be this time. So this one is everything for both of them right now, and I feel like Beneil Dariush is going to repeat what he did the first time and just beat Diego Ferreira for 3 rounds. In all honesty, and it was a close first round in their first fight as well. It was a bunch of different situations, a bunch of stand-up, a bunch of grappling as well, and from what I saw, Beneil Dariush just taking Diego Ferreira down, laying in half guard, keeping him in control on the ground, landing some good shots, some good total strikes, landing good shots overall, some nice little elbows in the guard as well. I very much like Beneil Dariush's strategy in the fight of just whenever he wanted a takedown, he went for it, and half the time he got the takedown and controlled Diego Ferreira for the rest of the round. I like Diego Ferreira's jiu-jitsu. I think it's very good, but there's something to be said about that, because Beneil Dariush then went on to do the same thing pretty much to Thiago Moises in their bout and shut him out over 3 rounds by controlling him on the ground and also beating him on the feet. And Beneil Dariush, in my opinion, is just a way more improved fighter between the pair of them. You're talking about a 30-year-old Diego Ferreira in the first fight to now a 36-year-old. And a 25-year-old Beneil Dariush in the first fight to a 31-year-old in his prime right now. I just feel like Beneil Dariush has made the much more dramatic changes in his game, and although Diego Ferreira has some really good wins, I think that the odds makers are putting a lot of value behind the win that he got over Anthony Pettis, and I think we all know what I'm going to say here. Pettis quit. Pettis just kind of quit against Diego Ferreira. He tried to go back down to 155. I remember he had a laceration on his hand in that fight as well from a USADA cup. If you'll remember, he was trying to close a USADA urine sample cup and it cracked and sliced his hand open in that fight. So that might have been a reason. I'm not too sure. However, he lost. And he quit in that fight, in my opinion. Like, it seems like at 155, Pettis just wasn't the same as he was at 170 anymore. He didn't really have a good time making that cut down to 155. And Diego Ferreira got the win eventually, don't get me wrong, and got the submission. And the submission over Anthony Pettis is no joke. But I feel like Beneil Dariush at 155 is just on the upswing right now. He's getting better and better every time. He doesn't really have a hard time with the weight cut. And I feel like he's actually a bigger guy than Diego Ferreira. Diego Ferreira is a little bit more stocky, but I feel like Beneil Dariush obviously is an inch taller. He's a little bit wider at the shoulders as well, even though Diego Ferreira has a reach advantage. Beneil Dariush is a very long guy and he fights very long. He uses a lot of leg kicks and body kicks, which he used against Diego Ferreira on the feet last time. Diego Ferreira likes to box with people quite a bit, and Dariush has sort of switched into more of a boxing type fighter. But I feel like against Diego Ferreira, he's just going to go straight back to the legs like he did last time. Body kicks as well were landing very well for Beneil Dariush in that fight. And whenever he wanted a takedown, 30-year-old Diego Ferreira could not do anything about Beneil Dariush being on top of him. He had some close submission attempts. Beneil Dariush got out of all of them like they were nothing and then just went straight back into top control. You saw this against Thiago Moises. I believe Moises had something like 4 submission attempts on Beneil Dariush. He just gets out of them and gets back on top. I feel like this is a massive underration, if that's even a word, of Beneil Dariush's grappling game. I know he doesn't have all the accolades that the others have, but damn, his MMA grappling is really good. I know he got submitted by Michael Chiesa, but I almost feel like you have to be a much bigger guy that can bully him in the grappling department to even hang with him. I think he's got great grappling, and I think he's going to go out there and take down Diego Ferreira in the second half of every round. I don't think he gets a finish over Diego Ferreira here. I feel like mainly the finishes of Beneil Dariush recently have been at the mistakes of his opponent. You saw that in the Chikar close fight. He went after Beneil Dariush, got rocked himself in the process, and then Dariush went on to get the finish. You saw this against, well, Holtzman didn't really make a mistake. In fact, he just got whooped the entire time, and Scott Holtzman was coming off a big win against Jim Miller, which is never easy to do. I mean, Dustin Poirier went to a majority decision with Jim Miller at one point in his career, and Jim Miller's submitted Roosevelt Roberts before that one, and then you see that Beneil Dariush is no slouch, man. He's still beating good opponents. Looking very good against him as well. You've saw in his Edson Barboza fight in the past that his stand-up is just... Other than the flying knee that Edson Barboza landed in the second round of that fight, that was one-way traffic. Beneil Dariush just simply outlanding Edson Barboza with kicks, with punches. I just liked what I saw. I think Beneil Dariush is very underrated, and I think he's going to go out there, win on the feet in the early halves of the rounds, and then in the second half of the round, he's going to shoot his takedown, get his takedown with his head on the inside like he did last time, avoiding all submission potential, and just use the half guard and land total strikes until the end of the fight. I think we see an exact repeat, because I feel like now recently a lot of us, including myself in the prediction game, are looking at wins that people have gotten and is this win better than that win, and look at this resume versus that resume, and this and that win means a little bit more than this win on this guy's record. But what ultimately it comes down to is the style matchup. And I think that's what I'm going to rely on here. I don't think that Beneil Dariush should be an underdog. That's stupid as fuck, no? I'm going to put some money on that one because that is ridiculous, in my opinion. Beneil Dariush should be a pretty juicy favourite, and I'm going to take him as an underdog. He's evens right now. I understand the threat that Diego Ferreira brings to the table. He's very good in volume. He's got a good pace on the feet, but when you've got a guy who's looking to shoot a takedown on you that's not scared about your ground game like Beneil Dariush isn't, I think that limits how much output he can have on the feet and how much he can come forward and put the pressure on guys with multiple combinations at a time, because other guys don't want to get Diego Ferreira to the ground. That's not their A-game. Keep me away from the ground of Diego Ferreira. I'll take my chances on the feet. Dariush can go to the ground. It opens up a new layer of options. I think he has more options than Diego Ferreira. I don't see him getting out-grappled by Diego Ferreira. I think this fight will be dictated by the aggressiveness of each fighter, and I think Beneil Dariush will put his good foot forward and open up every exchange. He'll start the exchanges on the feet and he'll win them with mixing in kicks in the midway after Diego Ferreira throws a lot of his punches. I think that Beneil Dariush is going to win the kicking game and chop at the legs of Diego Ferreira early, and then he's going to start going to the ground, and he's just going to be the one that leads the dance in the grappling and be on top and win the total strike advantage there. Thank you for watching the video. I think Beneil Dariush wins. I think it's as easy as that. He's got KO power. I don't see him KOing Diego Ferreira. I really don't. Diego Ferreira's got a solid chin. I know he got KO'd by Dustin Poirier before, but now it seems like his boxing is very much crispened up a little bit. But look, you're looking at a 36-year-old to a 31-year-old. Do you think Beneil Dariush has made more improvements to his game from the age of 25 to 31 than Diego Ferreira has from the age of 30 to 36? I'm definitely going to go with Beneil Dariush. I think the style has already been played out in their first fight, if you go back and watch that. Dariush just basically controlled him on the ground, saw every submission come in. Something I liked about Beneil Dariush as well in that fight is that whenever Diego Ferreira even had a submission attempt, you saw this with Kevin Lee and Charles Oliveira. It's so underrated for a guy, IQ-wise, to disengage from the ground with someone and re-enter afterwards. Kevin Lee against Charles Oliveira. Oliveira was putting him in dangerous submission positions, and where Kevin Lee could have maybe stood up, kicked at the legs a little bit and tried to get a better engage and move the legs to the side and get over him into side control or something like this, he would stay in the grappling situation on the ground and try and reverse and end up on top. Dariush in the fight with Diego Ferreira, there were many close submission attempts, and every single time Dariush would see him come in and be like, you know what? I'm not even going to risk this. I'm stepping out, I'm kicking the legs a couple of times, and I'm going to jump back into guard. And right now, when there's no crowd or a big crowd, it's kind of good for guys that, you know, it's kind of good for guys that aren't really going to be wowing anyone with their technique, and I think Dariush knows this. He's going to go out there, not fear about entertaining the crowd whatsoever, and he's going to hold down Diego Ferreira in half guard and win the ground exchange. in my opinion. And also against the cage, I feel like with Dariush's last fight with Ferreira as well, he's able to hold him up against the cage. Much stronger than him in the first round. Who's going to get stronger, a 30 to a 36-year-old or a 25 to a 31-year-old? Going to go with Dariush there. He was stronger than him in the clinch in the first fight. I think that's going to dictate a lot. That's another area overall that I rely on Dariush to win in this bout, and I think he'll turn around Diego Ferreira. And we've seen a very big advancement of the idea of what you can do in the clinch in MMA recently compared to what you were doing back then. No one was kneeing the fires as much back then in the old days. No one was really sneaking in punches to the body against the clinch. It was a lot of just holding, kind of what we see in the women's divisions of MMA right now. It's kind of like there's a lot more holding back in the day in the men's divisions, and you saw that in the Dariush fight, but I think now, I mean, maybe Usman has led the way. The Nebraska Nightmare has paved the way in clinch work, maybe, but a lot of body shots are being used, and not on knees to the fire, a lot of foot stomps as well. I think Dariush being able to hold him against the cage in the first fight, he's only going to be able to do it again. There's just too many areas of the fight that I can see Dariush winning in and improving more in since their last fight, so I don't think I'm going to go with Diego Ferreira. It's a very good chance, and I think mainly the reason why this is close in odds is because Dariush has been KO'd a couple of times since their last fight. Edson Barboza KO'd him, and then of course Alexander Hernandez KO'd him as well. I just am not going to rely on that because Diego Ferreira got KO'd by Dustin Poirier, so they've both been chinned since then. I'm going to rely on Dariush. He's younger anyway. Thank you for watching the video. I think the winner of this one is maybe looking at the winner of what else is going down in the division right now. I think the winner of this one could be looking at RDA, in all honesty. Big win here. I think they should definitely call out Rafael Dos Anjos, and that is a great main card of a pay-per-view fight. That's a great co-main event of a fight night. That's a great main event of a fight night if they want to do it that way, and with a great co-main event underneath, please. Maybe like a, I don't know, a main event of Dariush versus RDA with a co-main of O'Malley versus Nathaniel Woods. Something with a big name as the co-main to bring some attention to it. But still, great fights. I think the winner of this one is looking at RDA. Winner of that one's going to be looking at title elimination bouts. So yeah, I'm believing in Beneil Dariush getting the job done against Diego Ferreira one more time in the rematch and separating himself from the pack at lightweight. Looking forward to it, man. Lightweight division. Let's get things moving. No Khabib, no Conor, basically. Let's be real. Even though he's still in the division and he's still going to be fighting, we don't have to worry about him taking up a big role in the top of the division. So we can get things moving right now. Let's make Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, Nate Diaz versus... I don't even fucking know anymore. But let's just move shit along, please, because we've got contenders and they need their title shots because they've been working very hard towards them. Looking forward to this one. We also need to make like an Islam Makhachev if he beats Dober, maybe a Makhachev versus Dan Hooker bout in the middle of the year, and then we can move up Makhachev and Dariush as our two streaking contenders towards the top. They're the new breed, even though Dariush has been around for a while. I think Dariush is going to have a good time of things. I don't see him winning a championship. I just think he's a little bit too old. He's been chinned a couple too many times for some of those top guys in the division. I do believe he'll get past this stage of his career, though, against Diego Ferreira. See you later. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go with a 30-27 Beneil Dariush cruise to victory win. Grappling, striking, he wins it all. 30-27 Beneil Dariush. Like and subscribe. Click that button up there. Goodbye.